This conference will now be recorded.
I got 6 o'clock, call the meeting to order, to start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do believe we have a couple amendments to adopt to the agenda or amend to the agenda. Correct.
Just one, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I sent out the whole new with some changes. I think everybody got that.
Oh, yeah, this is revised on the top, so.
Yep, but then were you gonna pull that one?
Yeah, and then we're going to take, on the consent agenda, we're going to take 4C, the sidewalk removal request, and move that above 8A. We'll make that the first one, just where there's some comments or stuff like that. Unless there's anything else you guys see on the consent agenda we want to pull. So I just need approval of the revised agenda.
I'll make that motion for the second.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. We'll open the public comment portion of this meeting. Individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit the remarks to 5 minutes. Any public comment portions? I will close the public comment portions and we'll do consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless council members request, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda, which we moved that one down.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Accounts payable, Joan.
Okay, so we had the Kraus Anderson construction for the trestle repair, which was 81766 for $156,167.91. And a bond trust service payment for $22,947.50. That was 81742. And everything else was very, like, not large and pretty standard. Does anyone have any questions on the accounts payable for July 17?
The only thing I'm going to make a comment on is on 81766 on the trestle repair. I've probably gotten 8-10 comments, texts, whatever, how well it looked, how it turned out, and glad it was open. So I'm glad we did that, and it looks good, and I think the Public Works for helping getting that done.
If there's no more comments, I would recommend we accept the accounts payable in the amount of $265,539.52.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Joan. Public hearings. We'll set a public hearing for the revised RV and special motor vehicle ordinance. Miles.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So this evening I brought to you a revised RV and specialty motor vehicle ordinance that was passed through Code Committee in June. And, oh, sorry. Yep, so we passed the RV and specialty motor vehicle ordinance in June through Code Committee. And so you can see that there before you tonight. Currently, we're just only seeking to set a public hearing at council's request from our work session earlier in this month. So this would be set on August 7th, and that'd be a time for the public to make additional comments about the revisions and for council to have more time to deliberate. So we're seeking a motion to set a public hearing and, yeah.
I'll make that motion.
So that'll be roughly at 6:05, correct, Miles?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Are we gonna make any comments on this? That's for the public hearing.
This is just to set the public, I mean, yeah.
Even for us to make-
Yeah. You can do that in your reports if you want to do something on that. Or you can do it when we do the public hearing and then we have discussions then. So it's up to you. But right now we're just setting the date and time for the
What was the date?
August 7th at 6:05. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Passes 400. Thanks, Miles. Let's go to unfinished business. Kimberly, the 2026 budget discussion.
I have nothing really to report to you. This is just the one that you had last time. We are going to be looking later in the agenda to set a work session to simply discuss the budget. I've had Bob brought some questions to me. I really would welcome your questions, or if you have, hey, can we move this here and do this? I'd like to consider that. And I'll compile a list of those so that you can review those things as we go forward and look at the budget. And this will have the new, what the wages that the wage study talked about. So we'll see how that how that affects the budget. And we also will have at that time a tentative effect of what the change in the levy will have on a house value per $100,000 value of house. So you have more of a concept of what the impact will be on the homeowners.
Did Holly or Lindsay call you or email you this yesterday or today concerning a couple questions on EDA?
I talked to Kurt
Okay,
about
Kurt,
it,
yeah.
and it's a pretty simple answer. So.
Okay, and I told him that would be?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Any questions on budget? I know we got it down below on that work session for the end of the month, so we'll get that when we get that far. Thanks, Kim. We'll start to new business. We'll call it double F. Sidewalk removal request at 115 Warren Avenue. And I believe Amara is here to give her 2 cents or what you about the sidewalks?
So the sidewalk has become unwalkable in recent years, not only due to age, but large trees, vegetation, and ice that cause significant cracking and degrading of the sidewalks along Warren Avenue. The significance of the cracking and the heating creates tripping hazards, and it just poses significant liability for homeowners in relation to residential safety. We have noticed that the sidewalk is beyond, in a condition where it's beyond repair, and the cost of replacing the sidewalk is really no longer affordable. We also noticed that the appearance of our abutted sidewalk does kind of make the neighborhood look a little bit sad and tired. We are in an older neighborhood, but we do really care about the appearance of our neighborhood and how it could negatively affect our property values, which could make our neighborhood less desirable. Removing the sidewalk could provide much needed additional green space and improve the curb appeal of our home and neighborhood. Additionally, the sidewalk does not connect to any trails, nor does it stretch further along Warren Avenue. It currently ends halfway into the property of 109 Warren Avenue, which is next door to our home. And this, we believe that our sidewalk would be considered dispensable and one that the community would not miss ultimately.
So I guess my question, so you're gonna remove just your property sidewalk, or is the other neighbors doing theirs too?
It would just be ours currently. And then in place of that, we would, of course, level out the yard and put grass seed in it so that it doesn't look unfinished. The ultimate goal is to have our stairs replaced and then new sidewalk directly out to the street so that it's accessible. I do have photos and stuff.
Yeah, we have all our photos in our packet too, so. Does council have any questions? Kind of know what they're requesting? I mean, Brian and I talked about it a little bit. The sidewalks go nowhere on First towards Z-Bag, and it doesn't go anywhere to the south either, so it's, and Brian, we don't have any plans. I think you two are on the sidewalk to connect anything there.
Depression, that whole stretch
Yeah.
was gonna be coming out as under depression instead of just the one front and one house. That's, at the sidewalk meetings, that's the impression I got
Yep. Yeah.
by
That's what
Higgs and everything.
I was thinking too, that it was gonna go all the way up, because a lot of your pictures are that tree in by the neighbors.
From our understanding was when we got an email a couple years back was that each home would specifically have to do their own petition to get it removed.
Okay.
And so then this was like our part of getting ours removed, and then like the neighbors were,
They were supportive.
they were supportive and, waiting to get like the funds to be able to remove their own sidewalk.
So that tree there is not on your property, correct?
No, that's
Okay.
our neighbor's
Okay.
property, but then, so right in the white fence was there is ours. And then he was just giving examples of, like that's ours, but then she was just, the tree and stuff was examples of
What the neighborhood,
Looks,
kind of the condition of the sidewalk and overall.
Yeah.
And then the neighbors in 109 they've been we've lived there for 2 years and they 2 or 3 sections are missing or just covered with grass and hasn't been forced to, fix it or replace it at all too. So we were kind of just seeing if we could get approval to remove ours as other people haven't, they have pieces missing and we just want to go the legal way and see if we'd be able to lessen the liability of people tripping on it or something if we have to pay to fix it.
Yeah, and the committee has been talking about where are we gonna have sidewalks? And then part of our conversation was we don't want to remove any more sidewalks and have gaps. There's already a gap here. And the location, the discussion was the location of this sidewalk really goes down to the industrial area. The transmission place, and we would not envision a sidewalk going all the way through back to St. Paul Road, should that ever develop back there and we can finish St. Paul Road. We think that the sidewalk would follow St. Paul Road all the way over to Mill Street, and that would be the trunk sidewalk, if you will, to get back to that neighborhood, not here. So the thought was this is okay, even though it's only part of it. I had a different impression as well with the pictures, but I think even though that it's part of it, there's already part of it missing. The kids will be happy because this is the best bike jump in town right here, I think.
but it's not functional or
No,
safe. I
as a
mean, that's
sidewalk,
my
it's not.
concern.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad by that tree. I mean, to me, it should be all done at the same time or whatever. I see the neighbor that runs by there is on the petition, so that was just a petition for her, or was she petitioning?
It was just, we needed approval for,
our budding neighbors.
yeah, we needed, from the documents that we saw, we needed approval from the budding neighbors that they would be okay if we removed our section as from,
This was from an email,
from the guy on Public Works. Head guy.
Mr. Mike Olson. Yeah.
So-
He had informed us that it was not a trunk sidewalk. So the responsibility for its maintenance or removal would fall on homeowners.
We have no plans of being a trunk, and it's an eyesore in my eyes, and it's not functionable. I mean, I even think the one with the big trees is even worse condition than that one and more
It is, but
hazardous.
it sounds like they're gearing up to that.
Yeah, so, I mean, City of Rochester, they just come in and they tell you you're replacing it.
Yeah.
And you have to pay for it, so, we don't do that here, so that's why I'm okay with it. Jeff, do you see any reason as a public works side to keep it or not keep it, or?
Just the same as you guys have under the impression, by the pictures, the whole stretch is gonna go. I mean, in that case, a guy could see that happen sooner or later. But that'd be my only concern.
Well, at least we're getting there.
Right. Yep.
And then again, this one, because we don't want to set a precedence that we're going to let people remove sidewalks around town. But this one, there's reasoning behind it. It's not going anywhere. There's already part of it gone. There's other areas in town where there's a chunk of sidewalk missing that we want to put back. You know, they were allowed to remove chunks in the past that we think, that shouldn't have been removed. You know, so that'll come about at some point anyway, or as well. But this one, I think has got solid reasoning to take, you know, to go ahead and give them the okay.
And I think across the street, there's partial sidewalk there too, I think, isn't there?
Yeah.
So if we decided we wanted to have one side with a sidewalk, that one is still there. Probably not a,
That one's in a lot better condition.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say, probably a lot better.
Yeah, the only issue
It's
with that
something
one
we
is
should
just
ask
the
in terms of
vegetation.
on this or not, I don't think so.
There's no humps or.
You could always
What?
ask him to weigh in if you want.
Mike
Flaherty.
sorry. Is there anything that you see pro or con on doing this?
Well, a couple questions. Do you have a sidewalk plan? Have you adopted, has the city adopted a sidewalk plan? Some cities do that. They do a study and a sidewalk plan, and then if you've done that, you want to follow that. And if you haven't done that, it sounds like you're considering doing policy in the future. You might want to talk to your city engineer about doing that. The only other issue I have is in the ordinance. Nobody asked me to look at this, but do you have an ordinance requiring sidewalks in this location or any location? Does anybody know that?
Yeah, we have a plan, and it really centers around a trunk sidewalk concept, and we're questioning that because we're not exactly sure what that means. So that's what we're re-looking at. And this kind of came up as we're looking at all that. So the plan we have will change. Ordinance-wise, I don't believe we have an ordinance that says that you have to have a sidewalk in a particular location.
Or usually it's a particular zoning district or type of street within a zoning district. So if you don't have that, I don't see any immediate problem with it. Is the sidewalk located in the public right of way?
I would assume most of them are, yeah. Yep.
They should be. So you can regulate. So the reason I bring that up is the cities have the authority to regulate your right of way, assuming you have adopted a right of way election ordinance, which almost every city has. So again, I didn't look at this specific issue before the meeting, but it sounds like you can do this with what I've heard today and what I know about the issue generally. So if you want me to look at it, you could table it till the next meeting and I could look at it, or you could just approve it. Yeah, so that's what I can give you tonight. But yeah, typically you want to have a sidewalk plan, you want to follow the plan. And if you're going to deviate from the plan, you should amend it. But it sounds like, this is just an isolated incident and you're in the process of doing that, of taking a deeper look at it just generally. Is that fair?
Yep, that's fair. And for the citizens in the room, this is our city engineer, or our city attorney. Mike is, so.
So it sounds, again, I haven't reviewed it, but it sounds okay.
Okay. I just wanted to see if you saw anything different or that you were alarmed by, but I know we have a sidewalk committee and we've talked about trunks and where we want to look at and stuff like that. And this is not part of that, correct?
No.
Yeah, then I think it's probably okay. I mean, if you have a regulation that you have sidewalks on trunk highways, and then this is one of those, then I would question removing it, to be honest. Sounds like that's not the case though.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. So, I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, if it's not in the plan and the condition of it.
I'll make a motion to allow them to remove that section of sidewalk on 115-1.
I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thank you guys for your time. Let's jump down to 8A, toward zero deaths presentation. Anna, take it away, girl.
You want to walk around with the mic? I'll
No.
just scroll through here for you if you don't mind.
Is that mic close enough to you?
Oh, yeah, I can put this one over here. Yeah, absolutely.
My name is Anna Kohlnapper. I work for Goodhue County Health and Human Services. I am the TZD Goodhue County Safe Roads Coordinator and also the Community Health Specialist for Goodhue County HHS. I was actually here at the City Council meeting my first week last early fall, so it's kind of fun to full circle moment. Have had almost a year under my belt and been able to experience a lot, so I'm excited to share with you.
And I'm Tony Pasquale, Police Sergeant with Zumbrota PD, and I'm our agency coordinator for our Towards Zero Death program.
So Towards Zero Death is a program that focuses on traffic safety. Now we like to present to local councils yearly just to kind of give updates around the traffic safety culture, give you new statistics, talk about what we've been doing in regards to traffic safety locally and countywide, and just kind of a refresher opportunity to learn more and ask some questions. So the Towards Zero Death grant program's mission is to create a culture for which traffic fatalities and serious injuries are no longer acceptable through an integrated application of education, engineering, enforcement, and emergency medical and trauma services. So really kind of having a comprehensive look at traffic safety and the culture around it. The goal is to pursue public support for traffic safety, strengthen TZD as a priority for all units within government, and safety partnerships, and implement effective traffic safety initiatives. Really valuing continuous improvement, engage partnerships with public health, enforcement, government, and the community, and then evidence-based approaches as well. So you might have noticed I mentioned a lot of E's. So we like to say that we have 5 E's. So that's enforcement, engineering, education and outreach, emergency medical and trauma services. And then our 5th E is everyone else. So everyone on the road, behind the wheel, pedestrians, bikers, all of the above have a role in traffic safety and saving lives when it comes to roadways. And why this matters. So last year, 2024, there was 479 people that never made it home that died in a crash, and nearly 30,000 were injured from some sort of traffic-related incident. Every single day, there's 174 crashes, 65 injured, and 1 person dies every single day, and that's just in Minnesota, looking at our past year. This kind of gives an overarching view over the last 24, 25 years. So you can see that we've had a lot of decrease, and this kind of shows the start of the Towards Zero Death program was around the early 2000s. So there's been a big improvement, still a long way to go. Our goal for this year is to get traffic fatalities down to 225 rather than our 414 from the previous year. And this is a closer look as well, showing the pre-Towards Zero Death trend line with that red arrow, and then where we're at today. So before the efforts of combining education, law enforcement, and the program, the work that the program does, there is a pretty significant decrease. And I'll have Sergeant Tony share a bit more about locally what those traffic incidents look like.
Yeah, so I ran numbers today from just comparing last year to this year where we're at. For example, our crashes for the year, including both just property damage and injury crashes, we're down by 5 crashes from where we were last year. For our DUI events, these are people that had contact with law enforcement and an arrest was made for impaired driving, whether it be alcohol or drug. We've cut that number in half so far this year. And it's not to say that it's because you're making less traffic stops. Our traffic stop numbers last year at this time, we were at 900. And this year we're at 800. So that number has gone down, but when running the numbers, it's not it's not something that would show a huge increase with those DUI numbers as well. What we've noticed in town locally is we're having more voluntary compliance with our speed limits. That's not to say that everyone is doing 30 miles an hour, but they're getting closer to it, where we commonly were seeing, maybe 40 miles an hour plus in some areas. People are now trending towards the 35, 36 miles an hour, where maybe that they're not initially having a traffic stop to take an enforcement action. So all things that are, positive in my mind that we are seeing. You can look on the weekends and see plenty of cars left down at the bars after bar close, that people are making those smart choices to ski a ride home or walk home. We have a very walkable community in that sense, where we're seeing some positive results there locally in town.
This is again a closer look at where we're looking for serious injuries. So as I mentioned, goal for fatalities is 224. Our goal for serious injuries in 2025 is 980. In previous year, it was just above 2,000. So looking for a significant decrease. Might seem a bit lofty, but it definitely is realistic with kind of a all hands on deck and comprehensive approach to decreasing those traffic incidences. And then I like to always mention, especially since we're in the summer months, what we call 100 deadly days. So this is the time that runs from the very end of May all the way to the start of September for Labor Day. And this is where you see the most amount of fatalities, especially when you kind of divide it around the other months of the year. And this is due to many different things, a lot more events, a lot more people on the roads, just different things happening, a lot more drinking events, so people driving behind the wheel impaired, different factors that contribute to having a higher rate. So we have different law enforcement waves that go on throughout the summer. Do you want to share anything?
So we're currently in our speed wave, and I'm sure many of you saw on our Facebook page, we touted our July 3rd border-to-border enforcement. So that's something that the Southern Minnesota law enforcement TZD coordinators participate in to do a border-to-border, high visibility, speed saturation, education and enforcement. So any agency that's along Minnesota 60, Minnesota 4, or US 14, and Minnesota 19 for highways are encouraged to use both on-duty employees and grant-funded employees to get out there and stop cars for speed. Locally, we had roughly 15 officers and deputies from the respective Goodhue County agencies that participated, and we made over 130 stops in about a 8 to 9 hour window that officers were working. So we've had several people come up to us and say that, wow, yeah, we definitely saw that presence there. And the motorists that we were stopping, several of them said, I can't believe I just got stopped because I just saw a traffic stop before the road. I should have known to slow down to be mindful of my speed. So that was an event that we took more of an educational approach. We did a lot of roadside education about these same statistics here, why the TZD program exists, what our goal is to reduce those fatalities and serious injury crashes. And people were receptive to that. Several people that I stopped were from out of state, so they weren't necessarily aware of our program, but it made sense to them. It was something that they were talking about, oh, I wish my state would do something similar, would have these visible enforcement efforts to try and reduce speeds for things that they're seeing back home.
So this is a little preliminary, but on May 13th, there was 110 traffic-related deaths on Minnesota roads. So just to give you an idea of already how many deaths and crashes there's been and how we're really trying to amp up then those efforts to kind of still meet our goal of 225, keeping it at 225 in year 2025. You might notice that just our terminology, we use the word crashes instead of accidents. So I like to just touch on this very briefly. And this kind of sums up kind of our vision around traffic fatalities as well. So every crash is preventable. Therefore, we don't call them accidents, we call them crashes. There are choices, there's different factors, there's engineering, things we could do on the road, things we could do for education that all play a role in decreasing and preventing a crash. So therefore, crashes not accidents. And can we get to zero? So zero is attainable, but it takes, again, all the effort from all the E's that we call them, and even every one of you in this room of making sure you're making smart choices when you get behind the wheel. So now to highlight a few things that have happened within Zumbrota and then in the county just in the past 10 months when it comes to traffic safety. So Zumbrota High School had a mock crash just around prom time. This specific mock crash was focused around distracted driving, and then they had an impact speaker as well. Do you want to share some?
Yeah, this was the first year that we've had the high school classes, the emergency medical responder certification class, and the introduction to law enforcement class that Deputy Tiedman's been teaching. And we were able to actively involve those students in those roles as a support to this mock crash. So if they were in the introduction to law enforcement class, they were partnered with a law enforcement officer and got to be right next to them for that entire part of the crash, from the response side of it, doing initial triage of victims, seeing the enforcement actions that could be taken, notifying a family member that, hey, your loved one has passed in this accident, as well as the students who obtained their EMR certification. They were partnered up with the ambulance crew members to do hands-on simulated patient care. So we're trying to get these young students, these young impressionable drivers, at their earliest onset of driving, to try and foster these good driving behaviors and show them the real consequences that can happen behind the wheel. So a super successful event. We had a lot of great feedback from that, something that we're continuing to look to improve every time we do it. So introducing the students in those assisting roles was pretty impactful. So then this is that law enforcement class that I was talking about. So Deputy Tiedman's the school resource deputy for ZM schools. It's the lead instructor for that, but he did an excellent job getting super engaging, relevant speakers throughout the year. So I went and spoke on several of the different programs we have in Zumbrota. These photos are from, we had Minnesota State Patrol Crash Reconstruction Team come out there, and kids thought it was pretty cool. They got to see a state trooper do a burnout and make some skid marks in the parking lot, so they could see what they're actively looking for on a scene of a crash when they're measuring skid marks, and then putting their math class into perspective and being able to calculate, okay, if the skid mark is this long and we're seeing this, going through the formulas to figure out how fast approximately that vehicle was traveling, how long it would take them to stop, have this been a real life scenario.
Just to touch on the previous event too, but that class is definitely something that the city should be proud of. That is the only class in the whole county that has a curriculum like that. And it's a really great opportunity to recruit in a career that's very challenging but very fulfilling, and just gives the students very applicable hands-on experience and knowledge. So a very cool class. Another thing that we did countywide was I did a presentation at the Adult Detention Center, so the Goodhue County ADC, focused around traffic safety, the 5 different factors that contribute to most of our traffic crashes, and then we did some hands-on activities. This is something that we wanted to do this year because we do a lot of different law enforcement waves. We do a lot of social media and education, but for inmates that are in jail, this is a missing audience that might possibly be back on the roads and contributing to our crash rates as well. So making sure that they're receiving that education and we're reaching that audience as well. And then we had a Know Your Limit PBT event at the Guilty Goose. Do you want to share more about that?
Yeah, super successful. We've had lots of requests to do this again, including from Sarah, who has had a lot of positive feedback from her patrons at the Guilty Goose. So this was an event that we published in conjunction with Health and Human Services, with the Guilty Goose and the Sheriff's Office, to invite people to come out and partake in their normal afternoon activities at their favorite watering hole, to then go through some of the knowledge checks and asking them, okay, you've had your regular 3 beers. Do you feel like you'd be safe to drive right now? And the first couple rounds of that, yeah, I feel like I'd be okay. And then putting them through some of the diagnostics that law enforcement uses, having them just work on some different brain teasers to show them how they're impaired, having them test a little a pedal cart and weave through some cones to see how their coordination has changed, and to gauge then if that's changing their responses. And for the majority of them, they would go through some of these activities and, yeah, I probably shouldn't be driving. And then certainly after they see their PBT, a lot of them were shocked to see that they were at a lot higher level of intoxication than they felt that they would be. So in my mind, a highly successful event because we did open those eyes, and it was a lot of the regulars that you might see down at that establishment that participated. And word of mouth can be our best tool of education for us. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to go out there and arrest every single impaired driver. If we can have people stop their friends from driving impaired before we even get to that point, that's a win for us. We're not out here looking to, capture revenue based off impaired driving. If their friends are saying, hey, I went to this event and I had 3 beers and I was over the limit, I didn't feel it, but I was. So I know you're probably over based on what I'm seeing. Just having that word of mouth exposure is huge. And the fact that they want us to come back and do it again, there's people who missed out on it that said, hey, I heard it was awesome. We really are looking forward to doing something like this again. So kudos to the Goose for hosting us and for everyone who participated. It was very successful. Those pictures there, you see some of the younger, the newer Goodhue County deputies that have been brought onto the sheriff's office. It was great exposure for them as well to have a controlled environment with people who are known to be consuming alcohol and see how those levels change as the night went on.
You got one old guy on there.
All right, so how can you get involved? I like to just share that Goodhue County Towards Your Death does have our own Facebook page. We're all constantly reposting and sharing different information and education. I know Zumbrota Police Department has theirs as well. So just a way to kind of plug into this information. And then we also do have Southeast Regional Steering Committee meetings. This is located at the Minnesota Department of Transportation office in Rochester. If you're wanting to join, just connect with me. Also, we have our Towards Your Death Safe Roads Coalition meeting. Our next one is August 13th. You can plug into those by just letting me know you'd like to attend. And then we always have a statewide conference. So our next one is October 21st to 22nd, and that will be up in Prior Lake. And that is all we have today. Thank you for your time. Any questions or things you wanted to share before we end?
Any questions, Council? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Let's jump down to 8B, Covered Bridge Festival. Holly.
Hello, everybody. I am back to present this year's plan for the Covered Bridge Festival. We are repeating what we've been up to the past couple of years. We've had a lot of great success with our committee being able to execute what we're interested in, good community feedback on what we're doing, and great support of our businesses to help us do a lot of these events. So I am just gonna kind of run through, I did email you this, Brian, I don't know if you can pull, if you're logged in, but this just has, it's kind of the flyer that we print out leading up. So it's got what we have planned, and then I would briefly just go over, I think, kind of the road closures and see what things I need to get permits from you guys. So the weekend will be September 20th and the 21st. It is the weekend after Zumbrota homecoming. So we have been thinking of kind of doing things the week leading up. This year it ended up landing with homecoming, so they will do things all week long, and then we will be the weekend party. So just kind of worked out that way that the timing, that was the only week they could do. So we won't have any Friday night events. Just a heads up, like the United Redeemer car hop and the theater. Sometimes we do a movie or something there. So those we will not do this year. Saturday we'll start with the 5K and the 10K in the park. I was thinking on my way over, is there any construction or anything that we need to worry about on the trail this fall?
I don't. Jeff, Bill, is there anything that, I don't think so.
That has surprised us a couple times. So if you get wind of any construction, just in general, we always like to hear, because it seems like something always is going on in the fall. So that's Saturday morning. We'll do the sports with the volleyball. I think pickleball is going to come back in some fashion on Saturday, and then the evening 3-on-3 basketball. The library, we've had some contact, I believe, with the new person, or maybe you, but I think the intent is still a book sale and then probably some kid activities. We are changing a little bit. There won't really be the food vendors in this area. This year, we're gonna try to put all of our food vendors down in the park on the road, the stretch. Just because there was kind of, I don't know, tension's the right word, but, you know, some of them felt like they weren't getting enough exposure up here. And so anyway, so all the food vendors will be down there. Why I bring that up basically is we won't really need to close or block off a ton of this for Saturday. I think we'll probably just do for, you know, a little bit this direction, just so it's a safe entrance for people to walk there. And then whatever the library wants, if they want anything blocked off, but there won't really be any events up here that need closure for Saturday. Down in the park, we will, again, like I said, food trucks. We've got a few breweries. I believe they've already applied for their licenses. Maybe Miranda is in on that.
I think she did get those, yep.
The music will be down there. Yeah, all sorts of stuff that we've always had in the past will be down there. And then finishing up with fireworks in the evening. We're doing the same vendor that we have in the past. So we're getting into our groove with the fire department and making a safe space across the road so that nobody's cars are in danger and whatnot. So I think we're getting in a good rhythm there. So Saturday night would conclude with the fireworks. Sunday car show would again be up here. So that would be one of our requests, would be to have this block closed for the car show. I just got their flyer yesterday. So Mosaic is going to be taking over what the Zumbrota Ford did in the past. I think really a rinse and repeat. A lot of the same people are there, so they kind of know the flow. But we would just ask to have these spaces and they'll just, you know, overflow as needed. I don't remember what street this is, but we won't shut the county road, or we won't attempt, I should say. We'll just kind of go that way. And again, based on construction, if that block is under construction at that time, I haven't heard anything, but.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yep, so we'll stay fluid on that.
Yeah, we'll
but,
keep you posted.
Perfect. Tractor show, we would do again. Ideally, we want to keep it in that spot kind of across from the Veterans Memorial, but they have expressed interest to kind of be closer to things. But I don't think there's been an issue with you guys having them on the lawn, other than if it were rainy. That would not be desirable, and we would work with them on that choice. But obviously, we're not trying to have anybody tear up all the park space. So again, we've been fortunate in the past with that. Sunday would again just have all the vendors down in the park, and we'd end with our parade at 3 o'clock on Main Street. Last year, we did have the Main Street parade route. I just brought briefly, I think Tony might have made this for me. We started at 14th Street, so we were able to allow for kind of the traffic to flow. I don't think it's in here. Quick Trip and stuff, and people could get on and off the highway okay. So we moved in just a ways and then stopped, I think, before Casey's. It says 2nd Street, which I can't think of what that would be.
That's
Casey's. So I think we actually,
people to turn down 68.
I think we turned on 3rd actually, but maybe
The parade turned, yes.
Yeah. So we would intend to redo that. We've talked about some of the things that went well and some things that could use improving, and mostly the signage and barricades, just continuing to improve that and having some detour signs. I think that was one of our big flaws, was we didn't get a lot of our signs delivered. So the plan would be detour onto East Avenue, I think, and then they could exit. And the flow, I think, went well. It just maybe wasn't signed perfect.
Yeah, the MnDOT signage issue, those not being delivered was the biggest issue. We had it all planned and they said they were going to deliver and then they didn't. Because I know Chief was at the 2nd Street intersection and people weren't listening to go to east and then they go down to west where the grade staging was, and it was an issue.
So, all learnable things that we talked about and we have a good plan for, hopefully. And now that hopefully we'll be able to use Main Street again, we're ahead of the game that last year where this was kind of a change of things because of some construction last minute. So I think having some forward planning will be better too. So just to piggyback on that, I guess I would ask for permission to use or close Main Street on Sunday afternoon. I don't remember how
So here's what I was
far in
thinking.
advance. Yeah, go ahead.
We've got this event parade and street closure. I emailed this to you too. We had put this together after last year. Tony did. So there's some things on here that we'll fill out or have you fill out, or add to, maybe add your maps and all that to it. I think would it be best for council if she brings back everything all at once, maybe in the next meeting or 2 meetings from now, the second meeting in August. Once everything is all buttoned up, you've got all the sign-offs, we've got a place for sign-offs that way everything is kind of set, and then we do the closures then, or how do you guys want to do that? Does that sound reasonable? Maybe you just keep working with myself and Tony and
Yeah, and
Public Works.
I took a look at this already. Fortunately, I had a nice map, so it's not
Yeah.
perfect, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
You can just
to-
attach all that
To
stuff. but-
nicely do all that, that's no problem, yeah.
And I just think it'd be good just to have everything, what you need for the whole weekend in front of us in council instead of doing this one today and next
Yeah,
one tomorrow.
Yeah, so just get everything together and then I can put it in the packet and we can just approve it maybe the second meeting in August.
I will make bullet points of what roads. So just, I'm gonna say off the top of my head, park closure for the weekend, or not closure, but usage. The road closure, just needing Main Street. I don't think we've had the need to close any other roads. To clarify, the fire department is not doing their water fight, so we won't need to do any of the other. I didn't hear why, but no, so we won't need to do any closure on that scenario. And again, car show, we're gonna keep trying to do what we've done. The library, like I said, we won't need to do anything Saturday, so just be Sunday, which they're closed, so that would be, has been historically okay. And I'm just gonna say out loud, maybe it's something we just talk about, but the vendors, we had them exit out by the pool last year. So just wanting to talk through that option. It was a great way to not have them exit in front of all the pedestrians.
Yes.
So I just want to work through a plan on that too.
Yeah, that should still be available at that time because we might do some demo out there, but I think we'll demo inside the fences that are there. Yeah, when we build the pool, the construction fences will go way over. I mean, you won't get out there that way then, but at this point, you should still be able to do that, I think, unless anybody's got any objections to that. But yeah, we'll.
To go in and out of the parking lot?
For the vendors, yeah. Just their vehicles. Because they park down there and then they go to their.
Aren't we planning to put that emergency exit out?
True, yeah.
I mean, if
That emergency exit will go in there, but that'd be a perfect road.
If that could get done before that, that would be ideal.
An actual gravel road right up there.
Yeah, I thought you had told me you were thinking about a road,
Yep.
a real road.
Still working towards that, yep. Getting the new bathhouse buttoned up and so. There you go, Jeff, September 20th.
Did you need a deadline? Okay, yeah, so this one, I guess I could do 2 of them.
Yeah, or you could just, you could do one form and then say see attachments,
Yeah, okay.
I think.
Yeah. The only other thing that's somewhat new and wanted to check with permission, we are doing a tractor pedal, I always want to say pedal pub, that's not it. Pedal pole. Yep, for the kids. And that was going to be Sunday. Is that something that's doable on the rink, on that cement?
Yeah, I don't know why not. They're not,
I don't think they're like
they're just,
wheeling tires. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
think they go
probably
that fast. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really familiar with this, but
Yeah.
Space, they said that, they give us the dimensions and that would be within the realm. So there's a company that comes in and then it's by the tractor show. So we thought that would be kind of a nice
You bet. Yeah, that's a great spot,
option
I
over
think.
there. Okay, and then I think the last fun request is if you wanted to put any more basketball hoops over there. There's somebody that I know would like 2 more basketball hoops.
Let me guess. That would be
a park board.
Yeah. So we'll want to bring that request to the park board.
You get it done.
Perfect. They meet, yep.
First Monday,
Yeah, first Monday of the month.
like at 6 or something.
That's it, or 5:30.
I believe it's 6.
6.
Does anybody have any questions?
So you're right going down Third Street then, and does it go by the nursing home again?
Yes.
Perfect.
And then I think like Mill.
Yep.
Probably turns because we finished up in the new parking lot of the school. And the nursing home judges for us, so that's why they made sure to make that a route. And that was nice for them to be able to sit outside. That was something they were excited about when we rerouted.
Perfect. Thanks, Holly. Thanks for your hard work again this year.
Happy to do it.
17 more years to go, and then you can pass the buck.
My kids even asked me, Mom, are you in charge of this forever? Until you die, I said, no, but you can help.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we'll continue to work with you between now and the second meeting in August and shoot for that for final approval of all this stuff.
I would be happy to send that if you're free today, so I could email you and see, or after hours. So.
Yeah, well, you'll be, working with Tony quite a bit because most of it is logistics on that type of stuff. And then Public Works as well. So, but yeah, we'll keep getting together. Appreciate all your work on this.
Thank you.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you, Holly.
Talking on that road there, it'd be really, I don't know the deadline, but we got more campers there too, more seasonals. That would be nice if they had a way in and out.
Yeah, it was going to be more of an emergency road.
Right, but on days like that, the gate will be open. I mean, otherwise, I think last year they were parking at the pool and going.
Good point. Yeah, the people that are staying there can't
The
get in.
seasonals, so they have a way in and out too. We think that's gonna be blocked off.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Let's jump down to 8C, ordinance 2025-04, plumbing plan review. Brian.
Yes, this is something that Safe Built spoke to me about way back when we went with them. They've got the expertise on staff to do plumbing review, but they needed this ordinance to be able to do so. Right now, all the plumbing reviews go to the state. And it takes 6 weeks minimum for the state to do plumbing reviews. Safe Built can do it in 2 weeks. So I finally got on this. I asked Mike Flaherty and his team to help me out with this. St. Charles just did the same thing. And I left all the underlining and crossing off on here so you could see what changed from the current. And yeah, so basically that's what this is. Oh, did you want to chime in at all, Mike, on this, or? I mean, really, that's what.
Yeah, you summarized it. That's what it is. I'll just say that other cities also have done this. We've done this for a number of cities, not just St. Charles, where they're attorney too. Seems reasonable. If anybody has any questions, I can try to answer them, but it's just a procedural mechanism to allow your local building official to do this. Certain permit reviews still have to go to the state, yes. And that's in the ordinance.
Is the pricing any different?
Nope, it's just, well, there'll be a fee for plumbing review that we haven't had, but that's passed along to the applicant, but they're paying a state plumbing fee anyway. So it's just switching who's receiving the dollars, who's doing the work is getting paid for it, so.
No cost real difference between the two.
Nope, shouldn't be any, nope.
I'll make a motion to approve the new plumbing review for Safe Build.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Brian. 8D, ordinance codification. Miles.
Just thank you, Mayor and Council.
So tonight I'm bringing our ordinance codification project back to you tonight. I have gotten 2 quotes from Unicode and American Legal for this process. I believe I gave it to you for the work session earlier this month as well. So I think you had them before too. But Planning Commission discussed this at our July 8th meeting, and they decided to go with the Unicode quote. This is different. Previously we've worked with American Legal on any codification or any putting our ordinance books together in the past. But this would also include putting it online and having like a website hosting as well, making it searchable, more user-friendly. There's a lot of other communities that do both comparable wise. So American Legal, some comparable cities are like Lewiston, Byron, Cannon Falls. You use American Legal Publishing for this whole process, but Unicode is also in cities like Chatfield and New Ulm. So it can kind of vary. And there's some differences in cost as well. So I don't know if you have any questions about it, I can break it down for you more. But they went with Unicode, which is a slightly higher cost in the recurring fee over time. But we figured it was a little bit better just when it comes to user friendliness, transparency purposes, and kind of what we're getting service wise out of the company rather than American Legal, which frankly, most of our problems have been because we're using American Legal currently. So I'm bringing that to you tonight, and you have both quotes before you. Planning Commission recommended Unicodes, but it's totally up to council's decision here tonight. You can table it if you want. It's completely your call, but if you have more questions about cost, I can provide some more information for you as well.
I have one question I know like every thing that we do now, vendors asking for like a reoccurring, every year. What would this one be?
So for Unicode, and this is going to kind of also be a council decision as well, because there's a lot of add-ons that come with it. Okay. So there's a flat fee of $1,700 a year, which is just for the process of shipping the ordinance books or putting them together, binding them, what we basically pay for with American Legal to do the same thing currently. There's an additional fee of about $500 a year for actually just hosting the website, which is something that I think would be a great idea for the city, just because it would keep up with the rest of our competition, if you want to say. And so that would bring it to about $2,200. Now, the quote that you see in the Unicode proposal is for $3,075, and that is for the complete bundle of all their services together. And so right now, I had listed a few of the things that we wanted, and it comes out to $2,425 a year. So that's not a ridiculous difference. And that premium bundle includes everything at a massive discount. If you add up all those things that we could do together, it would be significantly higher than we're getting right now. So we could go with the lower cost and just do the basic services, such as getting the online hosting, the mandatory supplementation cost, and maybe one or two other things that we kind of want for our city. But we could do all of them now, pay a higher cost, of course, but we get all of them for a massive discount compared to what we'd be getting from American Legal and from Unicode as well. And there is an increase throughout time as well. So there's a 5% increase, but when we make this deal or when we sign the contract, it's 18 months until our first invoice. And then once we get that first invoice, it's another 3 years after that until that increase starts to actually apply. So we would still almost have 3.5, 4 years to build up our budget in order to make the cost work every single year and to hit that mark. And Unicode's cost, the one-time total, is about $2,500 less than American Legal's to actually do this process. And because of that, it gives us a lot more time to be under budget now and also to build that up for the next few years in order to make it work for our planning and zoning budget as well.
I think it's a great idea, like subscription. It's just like when people come, a lot of times they're just saying, hey, it's really hard to find things. So I think it's great. And it's user-friendly so that,
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're actually probably one of the only cities I've seen, and through any research, that doesn't have a website hosting such as this. As far as I know, ours is just like the PDF paper that's right on the website. But if you like, for example, if you look on like City of Byron website or even Wanamingo or Cannon Falls, you'll see it has this kind of software where you can just go in and click around, and it's just a lot easier for residents. And I think it just helps with our transparency as well, because, you know, when you kind of make things hard to find, sometimes it can be confusing, and then people can get, you know, more upset about something that, you know, they're not able to access or they don't understand as well. But this makes it really easy for our residents to actually go in and see what they're looking for, and just even search in there and get, you know, synonyms and, you know, related tags as well. And I think it's a great idea, and it will help modernize our ordinances so that easier burden for code committee as well.
If they get more upset, they call Miles. So we want.
And we have money in the budget back from the 2000s. We've already planned to do this. We've never done it. So we've already got money in there. And how many years? I mean,
I think they originally said like, I can't remember how many thousand, and in like the early 2000s, and just been sitting there, never used. And it's, and accruing interest. So.
Our expert money mover who gets top interest for those dollars.
And then MediCode offer will come in under what we have currently in the budget. So the American Legal one, we probably have to pay a little bit extra that we don't have budgeted for, just for the one-time fee. Now the recurring cost is significantly less, but we would still have to actually like cough up the extra change for American Legals anyway. With MediCodes, we come in under budget, and yes, we have the recurring cost that's higher, but we also buy ourselves a lot of time to actually budget for this and make that significantly easier for us when we start to actually make this a recurring thing every single year.
and you looked at it personally and compared them both, and you said it's easier one versus the other.
Yeah, I believe MediCodes is a little bit easier to use. I walked it through with Planning Commission as well, and I gave them both examples of both ones and how they looked. And I think that MediCodes is just a little bit more user-friendly than American Legals is. They're the same software basically, but there's just those few little differences, such as like the search bar. It's a lot more centralized, where someone that may not know how to work a computer as well might have to go searching a little bit more with American Legal, rather than MediCodes. It's right there for you to see. So I just, in my personal opinion, I think it's a little bit easier to use. And I also believe that MediCodes communication has just been a lot better. And I think that's something we'll see while we're in contract with them, is that when we need something, they're there for us to use. And right now, a lot of our issues is that American Legal has been, harder to communicate with, and we don't really know where we stand. Right. And so I think this is a little bit better for us moving forward to actually kind of set that bar where we want it to be.
Any questions for Miles on this?
I think what you're hearing from a staff standpoint, we would recommend the MediCode, and I think.
And then we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I think the reoccurring, the $3,075 reoccurring for what you get would be the staff recommendation. Is that?
Yeah, Planning Commission didn't really have a preference per se. And so I think, council wise, if we want to do that, if we want to do everything, I think we get a great discount now for it. But, if we also want to maybe lower that cost and do just a few of these things, that's completely understandable as well. I don't think it really hurts us either way, but I also see it as a potential opportunity for might as well just lock it in and have it when we maybe inevitably will need it as well.
Some of those options you can add later though, if you'd like.
Yep, we can. It would be at, at that full cost, of course, but, and it's possible too. When I kind of was speaking with their representative for us, he did say that it's possible that we may be able to lock in that kind of discount cost at a later date as well, but that's also a salesman tactic as well too. And so I think that's something to keep in mind as well. But so we could always do a lower amount now. That's completely possible, and I don't think it hurts us anyway. I think for what we're getting anyway at the base level is still significantly better than what we currently have. So in my opinion, either way, it doesn't really make a difference to me. If we want to do a few of these things and, take that cost down $600-700, I understand, and that makes complete sense to me. But if we also want to lock it in now and have it good to go, so whenever we need it, also works for me too. And I spoke with Kim earlier, and we have no issues with doing that either. So.
And I guess my other question is, what are some of those options?
Yeah.
Is that something that we need to discuss now, or, I just don't know what those options are and what benefit they are.
Right. Yeah, that's a great question. So a few of those, for one example I really like, especially from a staff standpoint, is that they give us our ordinance book also, not just on paper, but also in Microsoft Word. And the cost and time that it would take us to do that is high, and just paying them to just do it and update it whenever we pass an ordinance every year or at our schedule that we tell them that would be a huge benefit to us and also for our residents, because we'd be able to put it out on our website and update our code a lot more efficiently. And so we would get, greater schedules. So they'd be able to update things a lot faster if we paid a little bit more. There's also things where you can see historical records of previous ordinances or previous amendments that we have. So let's say, for example, that when Code Committee comes back with our animal ordinance, a revised animal ordinance, you could go back and see what it was before and also what it is now. And you could see those changes and how those have changed over time. There's also things where, there's some more search techniques as well. There's a lot more things that particularly help a lot more bigger cities, to be quite frank. But, if we have those now, we can lock them in. And I can get you kind of a more comprehensive list. It's in the quote as well, what it lists out, what they all do. And there's a lot of demo that kind of comes with it as well, and figuring out how it works. But I don't think all of them are necessary, because we just don't have the need here for our city, just because of our size and how many people are using it compared to, let's say, a Twin City suburb they're going to need a lot more than us to handle kind of the workload they're getting. But, I think if we even just do the basic level things, I think that cost is completely reasonable. And, either way, we're definitely not hurting either way, I think.
Well, here's one of those options that's in the premium, right? And Miles, correct me if I'm wrong, with this Muni Pro services.
Yep, that's correct.
That allows you to search codes from over 4,300 different communities and compare.
So like
which
if we
do
wanted
a lot of anyway with the Code Committee.
Okay, so if we want to make a new ordinance, those would be available to us to look at, and we could just pull straight from there, which obviously we do now, but it might be easier to just research using their service as well, without having to search the specific cities that we want examples from and searching for it ourselves within the code books too. I think there's also maybe some, as we go through this whole process too, to actually codify these things, we also have to have a lot of legal backing as well. So their attorney staff, their staff attorneys will be reviewing a lot of our ordinances and helping with modernization of the language too. And so that's obviously built into that cost that we're already paying for, but we can also have additional services as well through some of these bundling packages too. And the one that you see there is the one that they recommend. That's that $3,075 cost, but that's the most that we would do in general though. So that's the max, but we can work down from there too. We do not have to decide tonight as well if we want to table it, and we can say we want to come back with some additional add-on packages, and we can review those at our next meeting. That's completely fine with me as well.
Where were you at with the minimum, or what you had looked at for the minimum of what we might want?
The minimum of what I think would be best for us, including getting that in Microsoft Word, is $2,425.
About $600 a year.
And when you add in, if that's what we just want to do, if you think about, having those 5% increases year over year, starting, 3.5 years or so, it's a lot less. And we save ourselves a lot more time, especially, and also taxpayer money, by doing the smaller package and, building up that cost throughout time as well. And if later down the line, we're like, we want to do it, we can just do it because then we'll need it. So it won't even matter anyway, right? So.
Mayor, can I interject something on that?
You sure can.
Just in regards to some of the add-on services, especially the ability to research with, multiple communities that have various, I think it would behoove us to have that as an option, especially in the early stage as this code committee is functioning. Because this is exactly what we're trying to do, is we're trying to consider some of the different communities as to how they're interpreting what we're looking for, so that we can be effective as a group. And I think that it would just streamline the process by having that, rather than trying to search the internet to say, okay, well, what community does this that we're kind of looking for, and having to work through that, or having to call the league to ask their opinion on, what communities, and then you still got to go look for that stuff. I personally see the value in having that right at your fingertips to be able to, especially at the stage we're at, trying to update and, keep our current code up to what it should be. As we have, we've transformed since the last time these ordinances went through. Our community's evolved into what it is today, and there's newer needs. There's things that we've experienced that weren't ultimately in the code. So I kind of see the value that piece alone, to me, is quite valuable.
Yep, another one of the premium ones looks like it's an archival system for previous supplements of your code. And also Code Bank Compare allows you to pull a side-by-side or a comparison. So when we get into things of, well, what was it back when they built that shed? Well, we can go back and look. Word Bank, new legislation, a mandatory legislation posted online between supplements. So a lot of good things in the premium, but. And again, that's all in your 138-page packet that you had half a day to read. Well, maybe a day.
But I know Miles been working on this, comparing the two for a couple months at least. That I know, just because we've had a lot of complaints dealing with codes, and like Chief said, is trying to find information on our codes in our city and then also other cities. I think we're definitely behind the 8 ball on getting modernized. So I would be okay to do the whole thing, just because I just think we'll save some money up front, and I think there'll be a lot more access and need for our community for that.
Yeah, I think it would simplify for the committee, or the committees using it. And that everybody's time is valuable, so if we can save some time by using this as a resource, I think it's a good idea.
Is there any other questions about anything else I can point out for cost wise, or anything else on these two?
Need to do. So
Are we okay moving forward with a smaller bundle, or do we want to do I want to go with the max cost?
I get the feeling from most of us, some people, that we should just go ahead with it all and get it done.
Just need a motion in a second.
Well, I'll make that motion.
For,
The mini code, and then do the max bundle. Premium.
I'll second that.
any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Passes 400. Thanks, Miles. Let's jump to 8E, Resolution 2025-25, authorizing PSIG application to Minnesota. Bill?
In your packets, a resolution. This is PSIG's Point Source Implementation Grant. So also this month, the other three cities in the North Somerville Sanitary Sewer District will be passing similar resolutions. So Wanamingo, Pine Island, Goodhue. Each will be passing a resolution to allow each community to submit up to a $12 million grant. So this is some ROTA's share of that. How this grant works is it's for nitrogen and phosphorus limits that the district will be receiving. You generally submit this 1 year prior to construction. So we're still pursuing ultimate construction dollars, but the goal is to bid this project still in the fall of 2026. So this is the required part to submit the grant. So any questions? Otherwise, the recommendation is to approve the resolution as the mayor mentioned.
So all communities involved are signing similars.
That is correct. Yep. So we'll ultimately be submitting 4 applications for $12 million each. Well, Goodhue's will be a little less than that because their portion is less, but yes.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-25.
I'll second that.
We'll do roll call. Bob?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Fred? And I passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Mayor.
8F Trailhead Hand Dryers. Brian?
Oh, yeah, we had a request to look at hand dryers because the paper towels that we use at the various bathrooms that we have end up all over the floor and in the sink and who knows where. And we spend a fair amount of money, give or take $400 probably for the trailhead. We brought this to the park board. The park board approved the more expensive hand dryers for the bathrooms in the park. They thought it was a good idea. It's not only the cost of the towels, but it's the cleanup, constant chasing paper around. And they really don't need paper out there at those bathrooms. The trailhead falls under council oversight, so bringing it to you to see if you're wanting to go with some hand air dryers and then which ones you'd like to go with. Staff recommends, well, I didn't put a recommendation on there because either one, but recommend going with one or the other for the hand dryers. The more expensive ones got a little better warranty, better machine, theoretically it'll last longer.
And the payback seemed pretty good on that, which extended, or with that warranty, I think the
Yes.
warranty extends past the payback period.
Yep.
So that kind of made sense to me, and going to the more expensive ones.
I agree.
Where does that fund come from? Money come from? What account?
Trails.
General fund of the trailhead.
Okay. And I assume there's money in there?
See, I think we can find money.
Yes.
We underspend many years, so if we overspend our line item, it's not a tragedy.
Not that we are going to, we just have to look at it.
I'm with Bob. I think it's a good idea to go with the better units.
I hear a motion, Joan?
I make a motion that we approve the trailhead hand dryers in the amount of $2,223.70.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Brian. Senior street maintenance position posting.
Yes, as we know, Larry will be retiring on August 15th. And we're getting close to that. Well, we'd like to get the position posted. Made a few tweaks to the job description. We added in some scheduling as far as putting together a comprehensive schedule of duties by season. Something we've been talking about for quite a while since Tina really wanted that when she was here, and we didn't get it done. But I think moving into someone new in that position, we want to get that going, so that's in here. And then also computer skills. We need someone in there that is able to take on the work orders. They reverted to the Public Works Director most recently, but I think it makes the most sense for the senior position to handle that. Also other programs like GIS, things like that. that need to be done on the computer. We will look for some of those expertise. So those are things that were added. Otherwise, the job description is the same as it was. I talked to the street staff about it. Any suggestions there that maybe something doesn't fit anymore, maybe there should be something else in there, and we didn't really get any comments back, so I think it's a good job description, and we're just looking to get it filled, hopefully get someone in here before Larry retires. We want to post it right away Monday, and maybe we could get someone in here the week Larry retires. And maybe not too, depending on how much notice whoever it is, has to give in their job, so.
Brian, this is
No?
pretty similar, just
I
a
mean-
little more updated.
Yeah, I just added I added the scheduling, stress on being able to put together a comprehensive schedule, and then the computer skills. Yeah, I don't believe I didn't give you the comparison, I guess, in here, but I don't believe we added anything else.
So another question I just thought of. If one of our current city guys applies for it and gets that job, we will still be short a street person, so we'll be reposting another
Yep.
position
Yep.
to offset that.
Correct, yep, that would be a streets maintenance person, yep.
Yeah, so we back to this.
And that job description is ready to go, just in case.
So does this senior, he kind of work with her anyway?
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely. It's the same position as Larry's.
Right, but I'm just saying, do we need a senior, can the public work oversee them too? Because the senior guys coming to get them, we just will get all three of them.
Yeah.
Get them all three more involved in a hands-on.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit. I think as we grow, this position becomes more critical. One of the things that Kim and I kind of talked about was plowing. The senior position has always called the plows out and handled all of that stuff. It has not been the public works director.
But should it be the public works director? I
It
mean,
could be, but the public works director has got a lot of responsibilities with the capital planning and a lot of office things that need to be done too. Could it be done? Jeff, you want to chime in on that? Turn your mics on back there, by the way. Or your thoughts, any thoughts that you might have?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, I suppose at some point incorporate that in. I mean, that's completely based on workload. I mean, it's what you expect that person in that position to be doing, I mean, from public works on down. I mean, that's.
Yeah, because theoretically, the senior person would be, is directing the summer staff. We're delegating that right now, but directing the summer staff. We'd look to that, to some of the GIS stuff. We would look to that position to, the calling out the plows, keeping an eye on that.
That's basically, if you want your public works director in office, or you want, or 50-50 on the ground, or I think it starts from up there.
Yep.
And how you then break it down from that point.
we are going to need to hire somebody to replace Larry just because Larry's retiring. And the word on the street that I've heard is that they need more help now with Larry here. So I think we need to go ahead and hire a position. If we hire it as a supervisor or if we hire it as just a street guy is the $1 million question.
Well, not quite $1 million.
What is
The
dollar difference, Kim, between a street worker and the supervised position?
6,000 to 12,000 probably,
About 12,000.
depending on
Well,
what they
could
pull
be.
for benefits.
Yeah.
That's always the wild card with it, and it adds up very, very quickly. If you get someone in who has, it depends, it's because of the way our benefits calculate, so.
Yeah, and then you think about that 12,000, how fast can that go on certain responsibilities, especially when the city grows? That could get eaten up pretty quick if you're trying to do the public works and have him do everything too.
I mean, and as the city grows for projects going on currently, future projects, and what Mayo Clinic's doing, and what that could do with our things, I think our public works is just gonna grow and our population's gonna grow. And obviously, hopefully, the tax base grows.
Yeah.
But I do think we need to hire somebody to replace Larry. What the title is,
Yeah, we could hire a street, adjust the things, whatever. I agree. Yes.
I mean, and we can put senior out there and see what we get, and we don't have to hire a senior, correct?
Well, if we put it out there and that's what people apply for, I think if we said last second, oh, we're gonna change it back to just a streets maintenance person, that wouldn't go over well.
They're different pay scales, so you have to advertise it as one or the other, because you advertise a pay scale with it.
You know, and right now, they're functioning without Larry there. Everything's kind of delegated. I know Adam is spending quite a bit of time working with the summer staff, the younger staff that we brought in for the summer. You know, we're gonna have some community service coming up. You know, without the senior who would typically supervise that, you know, that would fall on somebody else who would normally be out on the mower or doing something else like that. You know, but if there's an extra body there, if it's just an extra street maintenance person, you know, somebody's got to provide the direction as well. But you're right, I agree. You gotta we need to hire somebody, something.
Also, don't forget that when the pool is online, that those duties fall under Public Works, and traditionally the Public Works directors held the CPO license. So that's also something that takes up that person's time in the summer as well.
I mean, I got two questions. One is for Jeff. What is your input, your intake on that versus a senior versus a street guy?
I would assume stick with the senior, just for the fact that you got a point person to go to. I mean, the public works director is not going to be able to be at the shop all the time directing those guys. It's a lot of runaround. I mean, Adam's done a great job of stepping up. He's pretty much just assumed that position at this point. But I mean, that's kind of unfair to ask too, that somebody take on something, you know, he was designated to the parks, you know, or whatever. That's why we got rid of the mower, you know, at the time. So, I mean, I think everybody kind of has their roles, and but to not have that point source, I think is kind of.
I mean, and my second point on it is, let's use the Covered Bridge Festival coming up, and that we have to put road closure signs and do this and direct the traffic. The Public Works, do we want our Public Works director doing that, or is that a responsibility that should be a supervisor's responsibility? Because if we don't have that title, it's going to fall on the Public Works director. So that's kind of my 2 points on, I guess,
back towards the
pre our meeting, and we've talked about, I would have leaned more versus a street worker, but as I look at it, we discussed more, I'm thinking more on the senior.
Mm-hmm.
But
have that point person.
Yeah, to have that point person, because the director has a lot of different things that they need to take care of that I think is more important, but making sure that this closure signs and detour signs out for, I would say that's more of a supervisor's job than I do the Public Works. So, I mean.
And really with the director position, we're going to ask for more responsibility in managing the equipment schedules and things like that. Right now, we just bring all that back to Kim, and Kim kind of does it for the department heads. So we're going to be looking for the directors to assume more responsibility beyond what's there now, actually. So again, to help make sure we streamline their services and keep everything running the way it needs to be.
But I also think it's a good chance, or a chance that we could be hiring a street person, and 2 months from now too, especially. So that's my 2 cents.
I'll make a motion to put the senior streets maintenance position, post that.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Brian. Set work session. I'd like to get it, I'm gonna throw a date and time because it works the best for me and hopefully it works the best for everybody. It is the last week in July, the 28th. I'm open on time, but 5 to 6:30 is kind of strictly straight budget. So it's Monday, the 28th of July from 5 to 6:30. Oh, that's Kim's day off, so she'd have to.
I can make it work.
Does that work for other?
I already cleared that with her before I put it on here.
I'm open on time. I just,
5:30 works a little bit better for me, but I know it can get later for everyone else.
If we can, I mean, Vince plays at 7, so I got it. If we were done by 6:30 or if I left a little early.
and I'm cool either way. I mean, we could do 5:30 to 7 and then you can leave at 1:45 or 5:30. Fred?
It's 6:30 because he plays at 7.
Yeah.
We'd be done at
Yep.
7, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'd miss a little bit of it.
Fred, does that work for you? 5:30 to 7 on the 28th?
So we'll do it that way and then.
I'm 5:30 to 7, you okay?
I'm good with that. That would be great.
And we will try hard to finish a little early.
We will finish.
Okay, we'll finish a little early.
So I just need a motion for the July 28th from 5:30 to 7.
Go ahead.
I'll make that work.
And this is going to strictly be budget, so if you guys have any questions or concerns, look over the budget ideas where we can cut, save, add. And I think Kim will have some different numbers.
We will get to you ahead of time, yeah.
Yeah, so, because I think that's all, I mean, so first part of September is when we have to approve the preliminary.
Yep.
And we can't go up, but we can go down, so. So we got a motion
I'll
and a
second
second?
that.
Perfect. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Reports. Brian, your time's up. No.
I know, we're getting long here. New blinds, we're holding, so I've been watching all you guys squint back there. James, you're getting a tan, I think, maybe some something. So they're gonna be coming, I've been holding off until we get the police side done. The roof came up over there, and that's gonna be, have you heard anything, Pat, on that? So we awarded that, of course, so that should be starting here pretty soon. I think they're getting materials now. So once that is done, then we'll get the blind person in here to do in here and in there, and then we'll be able to darken it up a little bit or stop the glare. We have the civil plans for the Keller Bartman building. We're just starting our staff review. We just got it a day ago, so Miles, so we'll get together with the engineering staff and Jeff next week and hammer out the staff reviews. And we can give you updates as you want, but right now we're just starting the reviews. New pool, we just got some new commitments to announce. Quick Trip gave us $25,000. They would like to sponsor the kids slide. So we'll figure out how to make that happen, where we do a donor wall or how we do that. But that's a big thanks to Paul Peterman for working on that. They had initially given us some less. And Paul went back to them and said, hey, you know what, you're one of the biggest, or one of the busiest Quick Trips you own. And they said, yeah, you're right. So 25,000. And then Kim got a check from United Redeemer Lutheran Church in the mail the other day and for $13,500. And she said, what's this for? I don't know. So she called them and that was a donation for the pool. So been a good week. We brought in, $28,500 so far this week, and then
38,000.
or $38,500. Yes. Right. And then there's still some of the larger ones out there too that are being worked on. Hopefully we'll get a few more bigger donations and close our gap a little bit. Just sent an email to the union stewards. We're gonna start up negotiations. They're gonna send the request to negotiate along with negotiating points. That way we can, when we first meet, we can go in there with a little bit of thoughtful answers and thoughts on whatever requests we're gonna talk about. So we'll get those going. 2 meetings, right?
1.
We used to go for 9 months with the teachers union, so we don't go that route, but that's it for me.
Perfect. Mike, do you have anything?
If it's me, no, I don't.
Okay, sorry. I got a couple. Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah.
Chief?
I just want to mention the memorial. I talked to Jake. He stopped in, did some finalizing on some things, and ultimately it sounds like first part of August, early August here, they'll start the construction. And I guess it'll take maybe about a week once they start. And so that should be more enough time to get it done before September.
So we do the whole thing in a week?
That's what he told Tony here the other day. It should take about a week to get it done. So I don't know. Fred, sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good answer, Fred. Good answer.
You might have to put Fred to work to get that done that quick.
But yeah, Jake said that a lot of the product has come in. The memorial plaque, he was just blown away about the quality. And I think they're just waiting on the memorial bricks that people purchased. Those are the last thing to come in, and they're geared up, ready to go. So we're looking forward to getting going on that project. So that's all I got.
And you're gonna schedule a ribbon cutting once you know?
Yeah, I think once we know exactly where we're at, then I can make some contacts out to some of the groups out there that have an interest in participating in that, because I know that there's at least one honor guard that wants to be present for it. Try to schedule something. September is certainly Suicide Awareness Month, and that's when we wear our uniform with the patch for that awareness. And September 1 is a holiday, so it ain't gonna be that day. So but we hope to have it sometime in that first week of September, so.
Yep, and we'll publicize that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Media stations and all of that. So it's gonna be probably big. We're probably gonna need a lot of parking.
Very possible.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's all.
Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Sarge, do you have anything to add? Bill?
Real quickly, the work on the feasibility report for the 2026 street project, the Pleasant Avenue Loop continues. Intention is that will come to the council meeting, the second meeting in August. That's it. Thanks, Mayor.
Perfect. Thanks, Bill. James?
Yeah, a couple of things, Mayor. Thank you. I just want to note that we finally had our concrete fixed over at the library. I was worried that it wouldn't match real well, but actually the color came out pretty nice for the project later. I just want to say thanks to Public Works for helping me finally get that done, and Bike Recs installed this last week too, so we're all good with that. The other thing I want to mention is that the libraries gave our annual presentation to Goodhue County this week, and that went really well. One of the responsibilities of my position is to make sure that we have funding secured from both Goodhue and Waukesha County through negotiating contracts. About half our revenues come from those two counties, so it's important that we maintain that relationship. And right now, I think we're pretty stable with that funding, so we're in a good spot with it. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Yeah?
Nothing for you.
Kim?
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Miles?
Only a few things was, number one, I just want to say congratulations to Logan Simon here, who's here tonight. He just became our new code member. So passed that through tonight. So got our code committee filled up now. But then also planning commission still needs another member, and potentially we'll need 2 members very shortly. So if anyone is interested, we would definitely love to have them. And then, as Brian said, got the site plans for Keller Bartman, so working on reviewing those, and I think that's all for me.
Sorry,
Welcome,
Logan.
Logan.
Yeah, sorry, Logan. I put it on the consent agenda, so you didn't get a chance to give a speech or anything.
It's been interesting to hang out and watch the process.
Perfect.
Good. Glad to have you.
I have nothing. Bob?
I have nothing tonight.
Joan?
Thank you, Logan, for committing to that code committee. Appreciate that. Other than that, nothing.
Fred?
I was just gonna mention on that, RV, right, one thing, I went back and listened to the public hearing, and the ones that were concerned about parking theirs in the driveway, where this 15-foot setback in the driveway is gonna really affect them on that. I did just, to me, 0 to 5 on the driveway, and we want them to have solid surface, but then they do have solid surface on the driveway, and we're really limiting them on what they can park on. If they go back 15 feet, they got a 30-foot driveway.
Isn't the new one 8, the one we written, is that 8?
No, the 8 was from it was from the wall of the house.
Okay, that's
Originally house, so that would be eliminated. But we kept the 15-foot setback from the road for public right-of-way purposes.
I would just like, I'm looking at stuff that eliminates a lot of driveways and stuff. To me, 0 to 5 is not.
And I think the code committee brought that up because of the easement that the city have is roughly 15 feet in there. And it's a possible hazard for backing out, looking at them. That's why we still have it 15 feet versus 5 or the curb. Am I correct on that, Chief? I mean.
Well, and I kind of thought like 15 feet accommodates where a typical sidewalk would end up being. Because, I mean, how much is right away? Yeah, where does right away start?
Yeah, it's about that.
And for the most part, I think that it's not, I don't think it's all saying from the edge of their driveway 15 feet up, because that could eliminate just about anybody's driveway, really. So it's just more of what, might need, it just, I think if you look at it, it might be a lot less than what they think in their own driveway. So I don't think it's 15 feet of their driveway, they can't park a car or anything. So if that's your concern.
Because vehicles can park right to the curb.
As long as you don't block the
As long as you're not
sidewalk.
blocking the driveway.
The sidewalk.
So, and this is more about storage than it is just parking. So.
To me, it's a different part. Ours is UTVs and all that. I mean, they're all licensed.
I think the intention with that, Fred, is your cars are usually smaller than these campers and the RVs, where you usually don't have as big of an issue with sight lines.
But I also think the biggest problem we have in enforcing is when a camper sits to the street for long periods of time. That's, I think, the complaints that we're getting versus the people that pull it in, load their camper up, go camp and come back, unload it, and then go put it to storage. So I get it. I mean, and I understand that. And every situation is different too, depending on the driveway, depending on how long, how hilly.
Did I read it wrong, or is there a chance where, like, so say my big RV is parked there, can I come up and talk to like Brian or to Miles, and can I get an extension, or was that part of it, or am I crazy?
Yeah, that's correct. There is a discretionary line in there
Right,
that
so
gives the
if
police
you
chief.
had that issue, you could come up and.
Right, and you could get like, if someone has a weird driveway or weird lot size, it's a little bit closer, and they're like, I'm concerned, they come in advance. I mean, we're not gonna penalize them for that. And so I think that was a provision that we really wanted to add. It was just to make sure that in those scenarios that aren't really big deals and people make the effort to reach out, that they're not gonna be penalized for doing so.
But the ordinance reads that, what's the chances of we're gonna be able to give them a leeway, being that the one that's complaining, most of the ordinance that are we gonna?
And Chief addressed that, how because he knows the people that complain religiously or they don't get along with their neighbors. I mean, every situation's tough, and it's just, we're trying to find something to make everybody happy for the PD has a way to enforce it if we need to. And we're not using our public streets for storage for a long period of time, and we're not having the campers on unimproved services for prolonged period of time. Are we gonna make it perfect? I don't think so. So, I mean, we got a public hearing.
And I understand all that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do the public hearing again, which we talked about having or not having at a work session. We felt like we need to, but we're gonna stay on task and not make it other topics at other times, so. And then we as council can approve it that night, make changes, or send it back to code for changes too, so. Anything else, Fred? Perfect. Meeting adjourned. I'm gonna give you this.